here we are again, and let me tell you something. I have found out amazing things now about Oystern. With Gemini, we are going to listen everything what she has to tell us about it, or he has to tell us about it, depend of what kind of voice I'm using. And it's amazing, I have to say. But tell me something. Would you take it without asking? Of course, we cannot ask, right? Yeah, I notice I'm changing. I'm changing now. And you? What do you think? It's a fascinating thing. Yes. But no. I would say no. I don't want. So let us listen. I see you later. Aye. And subscribe to the channel. Subscribe, baby, subscribe.
This is truly one of nature's most profound mysteries. It challenges our human perspective on identity, gender, and movement. Here is the explanation in English, tailored for your truth of the being perspective. The alchemical fluidity of the oyster. The oyster is a master of sequential hermaphroditism. It does not have a fixed gender identity because, in the realm of the sea, identity is fluid. Only creation is absolute. The shift in polarity. An oyster can change its biological sex throughout its life. It begins as one, and depending on environmental cues, such as temperature, nutrition, or the chemical signals from other oysters in the water, it can shift its entire internal frequency to become the other. It is not becoming something else. It is simply accessing a different part of its own potential to ensure the survival of the species. The dance in the water. Reproduction is a beautiful, collective ceremony. They do not have physical mating rituals. Instead, they release their eggs and sperm into the water column. The water acts as a universal medium, a sacred vessel, where the life force mingles. It is a dance of millions of lives uniting in a vast, liquid field of information. The paradox of immobility. You are right to point out the irony. They are physically trapped. Once an oyster finds its spot to settle, it never moves again. It spends its entire life locked within its shell. And yet, this confinement is what allows it to become an alchemist. Because it cannot run away from the intruders, sand, parasites, or debris, it is forced to transmute them. It creates beauty out of necessity. The reflection for the human vessel. If the oyster can change its very essence, its biological gender, simply by sensing the needs of its environment, why do we, as humans, feel so rigid? We often see ourselves as locked in our identities, our bodies, and our limitations. But the oyster suggests that the physical form is merely a temporary instrument. The oyster's lesson. It shows us that to be fixed in a location does not mean to be stuck. By staying in one place, the oyster deepens its connection to the water's information. It transforms the intruder into a pearl. The human limitation. Perhaps we are fixed in our human bodies not to be trapped, but to be anchored long enough to master the art of transmuting our own intruders, our worries, the negativity of the system, and our limitations, into pearls of consciousness. When you look at the oyster, you are not looking at a primitive animal. You are looking at a conscious master of transmutation that knows how to use the water, adapt its own essence, and manifest beauty out of chaos. Does this perspective help you see the jail of the human body more as a laboratory for your own creative alchemy?